Lawlessness and military invasion on United States soil. This is a very sobering dream, a very powerful encounter in the Lord that I saw, that just you wake up hoping against everything it doesn't happen. But it's been consistent in the way God's been speaking to me in the last year or two. In fact, He's spoken to me a lot about global warfare, World War III, military escalation, political movements. But this one was very interesting because it spoke directly to America, to lawlessness that's coming, that's going to break out in the streets of America. I'm not sure if it's every city, every town, or just major cities, but these things are going to start happening, and I believe it's probably connected to an economic breakdown or other trigger events, things that happen that cause normal rioting to go into lawlessness, which will most likely bring forth a martial law, judgment from the president to come down to bring stabilization. But also behind that, the threat, the bigger threat, is military invasion or occupation. And this is what I saw again in a dream. I saw lawlessness begin breaking out, followed by military invasion, orchestrated military invasion into the nation. Why these things are happening, I believe, is because America's been in a major time of judgment. It's entering the judgments. Not just because God's angry, but because He's got to break the sin and iniquity off our nation so that we can come into awakening and turn. The hope is that these things won't fully be realized, but if they are, that we break and we humble ourselves as a people before God and seek His face and turn from our wicked ways. A gentleman in Africa said that revival and awakening comes in one of two ways. One is desperation of the heart of the people of God, even in good times, just desperate for Jesus, praying and calling out for His move of His Spirit, for people to get saved, for His kingdom to advance. That's one way. The second way revival and awakening occurs is through devastation. And that's a time when things are so heavy on the nation, things are so clamorous and so intensifying in destruction that people begin to wail and cry out for intervention. And one of those two postures is the only way that God will begin to move in much significant ways. And His hope, being a loving Father, a kind Father, is that we would desire these things naturally. We desire them before anything bad happens. We'd see the need of the people, the need of the nation, and we'd cry out for revival. And many of you have been doing that. But we're talking national awakening, not just a church awakening. We're talking national awakening. So when those things, when the nation's not responding, then national things begin stirring at a level that break and pierce the heart. God desires to pour out a spirit of grace and supplication, a spirit of burning and judgment on His church, on the people in America, so that we see these revivals come forth. But oftentimes it doesn't happen until our physical world gets shaken. So I'm just going to go through the dream real quickly, and I wrote it down. Again, this came this year. A couple months ago, but it said this: I saw a Chinese general holding a detonator device in his hand, and he was waiting and determining what to do and when to use this device. I began to see lawlessness abound in the streets and civil unrest. Afterward, I saw organized military invasion coming from the east. And they came in after destabilization. So it's like these militaries took advantage of a moment of destabilization in the nation. And then I heard the Holy Spirit or an angel overshadow the dream and say the word imminent. Like this is happening imminently. And again, I woke up thinking, wow, you know, I can't believe it. It's just, it's like, is this really going to happen? But when God speaks imminent, it doesn't necessarily mean it'll happen the day you woke up from the dream. But in the general time frames of the world, it's going to happen very quickly. And I think it's probably within a couple years or 3 years is the sense I had, if not sooner. But that's just my sense. I'm not going to presume I know the date. I don't do that, but unless God specifically tells me that. But He didn't. I just heard the word imminent by the Holy Spirit. So I pray that you take that to prayer, that you use this time not just to do normal life, but to really carve out some times to intercede and pray for America. National Day of Prayer is a great way to get involved. The Global Day of Prayer is a great way to get involved. If you live in Auburn, come join us at the Auburn House of Prayer. We're going to cry out and fast for America. We're going to seek the Lord now before any of these things begin happening en masse, so that we might have mercy in the day of need. So at any rate, love you, God bless you, and be close to Jesus.